Thank you very much for that very humbling introduction. Gosh, just what a great event. Such an honor to be here today and to hear a little bit about what's happening with the city. Let me move this around. Thank you, by the way, for having an adjustable height podium. So yeah, just to hear all the amazing things that are happening. I don't get to hear that on a daily basis. And I think Jamie mentioned intense pride. You should be. You're doing fantastic work. The chamber, Mayor Ritter, the city, council members, all the distinguished guests, all of you in the chamber that are here today supporting the city. What a jewel. What a great city, and it's wonderful to see the growth. But it's truly an honor for me to be here with you today to share with you the state of Tri-City Medical Center and how we're charting our course for the future. To say that these are challenging times in healthcare is somewhat mildly stated, with constant downward pressures on reimbursement, razor-thin operating margins in healthcare. In fact, the average operating margin in the United States for hospitals is negative 0.08%. With vital critical access hospitals closing at record pace, sustainability demands a clearly defined vision. Yet how do you define your vision? How do you navigate these waters? When the directive from Washington seems to change on a daily basis, I know my friends at Scripps probably see the same challenges. It is not easy. Is the Affordable Care Act still really the law of the land? Is Medicare for all, is that really realistic? 11 years ago, the Medicare Trust Fund was set to be exhausted by 2017. Scary. And so we embarked on an ambitious goal through the ACA to bend the cost curve via various pilot alternative payment models, with the goal to transform our system from volume to value. As the most recent trustees report reveals, however, Medicare is once again headed towards insolvency by 2026. The current administration has been somewhat unclear as to whether or not they will favor these payment models that we all embarked on. My only analogy is to imagine setting your navigation and setting out on your drive only to find that the coordinates keep changing. You probably had that experience. It's not a fun place to be. So how then do you chart a course for the future? You do it by looking at the horizon and a steadfast commitment to follow our true north. While the route may take us different roads, we will have to adapt and adjust from time to time. But Tri-City has no doubt about where we must go, and we accomplish that in 4 steps. First, we establish a foundation of financial solvency. In 2016, our CEO, Steve Dietlein, and CFO, Ray Rivas, restructured Tri-City's debt by placing long-term financing with a little-known financier named HUD. And in doing so, with favorable terms, this assured not only the viability of Tri-City, but also provided additional working capital to allow for strategic investments into our future. You should know that HUD does a very small book of business with hospitals and carefully scrutinizes potential applicants. What they saw was a hospital with experienced, very competent leadership, an educated and supportive board, and combined with unwavering support from the medical staff, which is a union surprisingly rare in healthcare. And to add to this, significant growth opportunities in a vibrant community poised for continued expansion. Second, and I just alluded to this, is that you have harmony between the 3 arms of the hospital: the board, administration, and the medical staff. I'm now entering my 20th year at Tri-City, and I've seen my share of discourse. I'm incredibly grateful to this board and their immediate predecessors, as they have ushered in a new standard by which future Tri-City boards will be held to. One that puts an organization above all else. With what each trustee uniquely brings to the table, they have brought a sense of calm and stability, providing the kind of oversight and leadership Tri-City truly deserves. Third, and possibly most important, we place quality at the center of everything we do, safety above all else. Without this, we fail to deliver on our mission, vision, and values. And high-quality outcomes is central to the concept of driving value in healthcare. One of the things that motivated my transition into the administrative realm was that I could see that I could make a difference now here at Tri-City in ways I never previously thought I could. largely because of the myriad of quality programs that were just being developed in an organic fashion. I'd like to share with you one of those projects. 2 years ago, a group of our surgeons and anesthesiologists joined a newly formed collaborative called the Perioperative Surgical Home. By combining best practices from around the country, they created an integrated program from a holistic view with patients ambulating on day 1 after surgery. They use a limited-use narcotic approach using intraoperative nerve blocks to manage postoperative pain, so you wake up with almost no pain. Strict glucose control, specialized preoperative drinks, and a whole host of other interventions. And in doing so, they have seen industry-changing results. Compared to national benchmarks, they have reduced length of stay by 45% for colorectal surgery, reduced infections by 77%, reduced narcotic use by 43%, and reduced readmissions by 60%. Truly staggering outcomes, so much so that our anesthesiologists were recently invited to present Tri-Cities outcomes at a national conference. The fourth step necessary to chart a course for the future in uncertain times is to understand as a team the direction healthcare is taking and to meet consumers there. Gone are the days where hospitals will build massive infrastructure on our campuses. You see, we're all becoming consumers. How many people in here have a healthcare deductible of $500? $1,000? Anybody with $3,000? I'm sure there are people out. Yeah, 5,000. Anybody with 5,000? Because that's not unreasonable today. Yeah. Well, congratulations. You're now self-insuring for the first $5,000 of your health insurance. Anybody with a deductible less than 500? Well, you probably shouldn't raise your hands. Don't change jobs. But now we've all been forced to have more skin. Now that we've all been forced to have more skin in the game, we're forced to become consumers of healthcare. Where we no longer see healthcare as a buffet. Everything's being consumed a la carte. And so we're going to be asking more questions. We're going to demand better, cheaper, and faster. In other words, we're going to demand value. So we're going to need to adapt, to build in the community, not just in our campuses. We have to develop strategic initiatives around being in the business of health hospitality. And that means delivering great quality with great service, where consumers want it, when they want it. If we don't understand that, we'll be the taxi driver competing in an Uber market. Right here in Vista, we have several Tri-City primary care medical groups, and that's just the beginning, as you're going to see us delivering more and more care in our community, utilizing technology to enhance our delivery models. You may not be aware, but Tri-City specialists deliver some of the highest volume consultations via telemedicine in the state. And we're setting out to leverage that expertise in that area to redefine the patient experience and enhance access to care in our community. Now, that's not to say we won't be seeing a new campus within the next decade. With a carefully crafted business plan and strategic initiatives, at the appropriate time, we will secure a second tranche of funding through our lending partner HUD, which will allow us to begin our campus redevelopment aligned with the needs of the campus of the future. Engineered not for volume, but for quality, with responsible design focused on supporting minimally invasive, highly technical capabilities. I'd like to take a moment to reflect on some of the recent accomplishments at Tri-City. I'm really excited about our future, that I like to think that I only look back to see how far we've come, but what we've accomplished recently is worth the brief peek back. Once again, our Cardiovascular Health Institute helped drive top marks nationally and is helping us set the standard for quality outcomes in cardiovascular disease here in San Diego. We were once again awarded top honors in heart attack care by both the American Heart Association and the American College of Cardiology, by virtue of exceeding best practice standards such as time from the first medical contact to the time that catheter is in the groin, which is called PCI, in less than 90 minutes. And the national benchmark best practice is 94%. Once again, we achieved 100%, making Tri-City heart attack care best of the best, as every minute means lost heart muscle, which directly correlates with remaining life expectancy. Similarly, we were recognized as American Heart Association Gold Plus awardee in the field of congestive heart failure as a result of combined coordinated care of our multiple specialties through our Cardiovascular Health Institute. In just the last 2 years, Tri-City has added 7 new cardiac specialists and a new cardiothoracic surgeon. We continue to expand our expertise in this area in coordination with the talent we've recruited, and we'll add 2 new pioneering procedures this year, enhancing our commitment to drive towards more minimally invasive procedures. What we're achieving isn't going unnoticed by those in the industry. We recently had the privilege of interviewing a cardiothoracic surgeon completing his training at what is widely considered the #1 cardiac program in the country out of Texas Heart Baylor. That would arguably make him the top recruit in the country. And ordinarily, top recruits in a field with a national shortage of specialists don't look to interview at a community hospital. They go where they want and are highly sought out by the mega institutions, the Mayo Clinics, the Cleveland Clinics, the Mass Generals of the world. The list goes on and on. Needless to say, that when he called a few weeks after interviewing with us and said that he was canceling his remaining 10 interviews and he was coming to Tri-City, we nearly fell out of our chairs, and it really made us take a look introspectively at what we're building here in North County for generations to come. Not only does he bring an enviable skill set rarely seen in a community setting, but he brings the humility to view our current CT surgeon as a mentor. And he's already expressed a desire to recruit a junior colleague he views as a rising star at Texas Heart with him to join us in a few years with a vision to build something unprecedented in a community hospital. We're now experiencing the downstream domino implications of that, with other cardiovascular specialists from top academic institutions recently interviewing here, eager to be part of our future. With them will come even more technical capabilities previously reserved for only the rarest of institutions. I can't underestimate the significance of this and the impact it will have on our care and our community, and this is just the beginning. In the field of stroke care, we once again were awarded the highest mark in the land, also receiving Gold Plus recognition, having been the first in North County to receive that designation a few years back and continue to deliver world-class stroke care right here. In fact, one of the very first recorded cases of TPA, a clot-busting medication which is now the hallmark of stroke intervention, was delivered at Tri-City 20 years ago, just a few days prior to the initiation of the landmark study, to a 36-year-old Vista resident who, while shopping for her wedding dress, suddenly lost the ability to use one side of her body. I'm pleased to say that she went on to recover full strength and is still happily married today to the same person. And Tri-City continues to be a leader in the field of stroke care. Our commitment to minimally invasive procedures is exemplified through our outcomes in interventional neuroradiology. A recent journal publication in the New England Journal of Medicine, not some suspect publication, identified Tri-City specialty team as the 3rd highest ranked in the country, with no other Southern California hospital just in the top 10. Think for a moment how remarkable that is, that a community hospital is pioneering the future of stroke care and has amassed an experience second only to 2 others in the country. That means our community has access to stroke therapies virtually unattainable in most other markets, decreasing the devastating impact of a leading cause of long-term disability. Tri-City's Orthopedic and Spine Institute continues to thrive. 2.5 years ago, Tri-City acquired Orthopedic Specialists of North County, an investment in securing and advancing world-class orthopedic care right here in our backyard. Since that time, we've added 6 more orthopedic specialists, including specialty-trained surgeons in hand surgery, foot and ankle surgery, and robotic surgery. And OSNC now has established itself as the largest and most respected orthopedic practice in North County. Coupled with their expertise, we are actively exploring bringing to Tri-City the next frontier in minimally invasive robotic joint surgery. Our spine surgeons have also paved the way for the future of spine surgery and are the highest volume robotic spine surgery surgeons in the county, with a level of expertise paralleled only by their exceptional outcomes. With a 3-year infection rate of 1.61% compared to Medicare reported averages of 8.5%. Devastating. Their take-back rate, and take-back is when people have continued pain and they go back because the screw is not placed properly. Typically, it runs about 10%. They've had 0 since they started doing robotic surgeries. 0 take-backs. And that's attributed to the extreme accuracy of screw placement afforded via precision mapping of robotically assisted surgeries, a skill that very few robotic surgeons in spine surgery have. Our emergency department continues to evolve to improve services. Quality has never really been the issue. Residents from both Navy and UCSD have long viewed Tri-City as critical to their maturation as ER physicians and their favorite rotation by virtue of the acuity and complexity of the cases that we manage that they typically only read about in textbooks. The issue has always been realistically about perceived delays. But I'm really happy to report that the redesign of care reserving ED beds for only those most needing a physical bed compared to 2 years ago, we've reduced LWAT, which is left without being seen, which is a standardized surrogate marker for ER efficiency, has gone down from as high as 12%, now surpassing the best practice target of 3%, down at 2% at Tri-City. And we recently introduced a phenomenally successful program called InQuick to allow for online ER appointments. Just go to tricitymed.org and click the right button and get an appointment, which has an average door-to-discharge time of 50 minutes. Somebody was telling us a story recently about how they really didn't want to leave the football game and couldn't believe they got back before the second half. And a satisfaction rate of 86%. This year, we'll embark on a countrywide initiative to achieve specialty geriatric certification, a countywide, initiative, to achieve geriatric certification in the ED, which will further enhance the comfort and safety of seniors in our community. Finally, I'd like to close with a discussion around mental health. I'm sure you're all too familiar with the challenging decision our board and leadership team faced when confronted with new federal regulatory mandates which made our unit structurally non-compliant. There was no ambiguity about this regulation, no option to petition for a waiver. Let me make it very clear. It was comply or jeopardize Medicare certification, which is essentially the death spell for any hospital. With no financially tenable path forward to rebuild, with a clear recognition that the current system of care in San Diego County deprived patients of preventative and long-term continuity of care, but instead relied on episodic band-aids during periods of crisis, Tri-City made the bold decision to suspend services in the behavioral health unit in favor of working with the county to reimagine a long-term sustainable solution to mental health care, not just in North County, but throughout San Diego. What resulted is best said by long-term mental health advocate and leader Liz Kurtneier, who stated, "I haven't always agreed with how Tri-City works, but in this case, they came up with an innovation that seems to have literally changed the landscape on mental health." Just this month, both the San Diego County Board of Supervisors and the Tri-City Healthcare District Board unanimously approved the definitive agreement tirelessly negotiated by our CEO, Steve Deline, and county leadership, which will construct a 16-bed inpatient psychiatric healthcare facility on our campus in a novel, innovative, cost-based reimbursement model that will guarantee the sustainability of the campus for 30 years. Achieving this took vision, courage, and perseverance, not only by Mr. Deline and our district board, but a special thanks to supervisors Jim Desmond and Kristen Gaspar for their unwavering commitment to see this through. I close by thanking each of you for taking this journey with me as I've shared with you a bit about where we've come from and where we're going. There are clearly obstacles that lie ahead in the healthcare environment, but with the exciting trajectory Tri-City is on, optimism really should rule the day. I hope I've given you a sense for why I knew in my heart that this was the time that I could help make a difference in Tri-City's history. Why I stand here today, truly excited and passionate about where we're going and the path we're set to pave. It's easy to be passionate when you believe in what you're doing and the people you're going there with. I hope that you'll leave here today asking yourself how you or your organization can collaborate with Tri-City to impact our community together. This is going to be a great ride, and I thank each of you for all you are contributing to bettering our shared community. So thank you, and now I get to say what I've been dying to say since last week. I yield back.